Hi, it's Toy Soldiers here again with our sixth pauper deck profile. This time we're going to be covering Morrigan off Evil. Um, we actually built this deck as a little bit more of a barrage deck, which is kind of the opposite of the Lilith deck, which was a little bit more of a big beatdown, which is kind of funny that we ended up switching their roles a little bit. But it actually, I ended up falling in love with this deck after I played tested it for a bit because the attack lineup just worked so beautifully. I just really can't complain with anything in how well it tested. So for those who don't know, her ability is E, discard one attack. Your attack gets +2 damage, +2 speed. Then if it's blocked, you can add that discarded attack back to your hand. So running a high attack count really kind of benefits Morrigan. She doesn't really want to be running only a couple of attacks with bigger numbers on them, because really your opponent just wants to eat the one attack, because getting an extra 2 damage hit on them is better than getting hit by another, usually a 5 difficulty attack coming for 5 damage. So really what you want to be doing is you want to be adding that +2/+2 on smaller attacks more often, making your opponent still want to block, because thinking that getting another lower attack thrown at them isn't as bad as taking the extra 2 damage. So that's kind of what you want to be doing. And then her second ability, Arc Commit, after your opponent makes a control check to play a non-foundation card, it gets -2, and then your next control check gets +2. Really what that's going to do is that's really going to help make sure that we can push the game closer to mid-late game, where we really start to shine as this deck. And it also helps you hack blocks when they try to block using attack cards or action cards, so there's that play as well. But let's get into the attack lineup, and I'll kind of show you what I mean as we go. This is an evil deck, if I didn't say that already. As kind of the core attack lineup, we're running 2 Iron Triggers, we're running 4 Malice in Mind, we're running 4 Soul Fists, and we're running 4 Ring Boomerangs. This is kind of our core attack engine. It's all ranged, you'll notice. Everything combos into everything really nicely. We have all these as mid attacks that combo into your Malice in Mind, make your Malice in Mind really scary. Obviously everything combos into the Ring Boomerang because everything's ranged. So it's going to give you a nice kind of groundwork to throw into things. Some things to note about this: Soul Fist does have an errata on it. It doesn't get added to the momentum until the attack resolves, just so you know that, if you weren't aware of that errata. But this is really, really cool because, like, Malice in Mind, just off the combo gets +2 damage, then you throw the Morrigan Enhance on top of it for another +2/+2, then you can proc the first Enhance, you get another +2 speed. So really you're getting +4/+4 off this thing when you get this thing comboed, which is, 6 low for 7 is kind of disgusting for a 3 difficulty. It makes this thing really, really scary. And then Ring Boomerang is great as your multiple, because you just, having 2 attacks to throw that down, the +2/+2 onto, and then if you get the combo off, obviously you're getting the 4 mid for 4 that you can plus up to 6 mid 6. Multiple 2s, pretty fantastic. Iron Trigger's really good because it combos off with another card that we'll be showing later on, but it just worked out to be a really, really techy little piece just to flash in a last minute foundation. But that's kind of the core attack lineup. The other attack card that I ended up throwing in here because it just fit really, really nice, it was actually Ring Slam. It's a mid, so it does combo into Malice in Mind, but what this thing's really cool at is that it's constantly letting you look at the top card of your deck, which really adds a lot of control, which this deck needs running such a high attack count. And I was really, really impressed at how well this card functioned with everything. And 5 mid 5 when you throw the Morrigan on it is pretty sweet as well. It also combos really, really well with the Thrill of Battle, looking at the top card of your deck constantly, then being able to figure out if it's an attack or not, just pick it up with Thrill of Battle. And running such a high attack count really makes this thing go off more often than not, so that was really cool. And then obviously as our finisher, because we are running a really high attack count, it really puts value into Finishing Shower. It wasn't uncommon to throw this thing for 14 speed and just kill people, so pretty amazing. I was really impressed with how well this thing went off late game, considering we're running 20 attacks in this deck, so this thing was just gross. Those are our attacks. For our assets, we are running the 2 transforming outfits that the Morrigan starter comes with. It's just really, really solid. It's a low block. It lets you turn attacks into just +2 cards when you're trying to go for builds, and it just ensures that that Morrigan R is nice because it helps prevent speed resets from bunging up your attacks. So that's really nice. Of course, because I love it, we're running 4 homemade explosives. This card's also great because it helps push us to the mid-late game as well, because it's damage reduction and it can help draw that last block during those turns. So This card, I'll stop running 4 of it when it stops being absolutely incredible in everything I run it in, so that's why that's in there. Getting into the foundation base, let's start with some of the basic prevention cards. We're running 2 Reformed Scientists. This is just your standard breaker prevention card. We're running 2 Malicious Heart, not only because we're running low difficulty, low damage base attacks. It's really easy to get them to double damage, so we can draw off this thing pretty easy. And that flip effect helps shut off Templar blocks, which, you know, can obviously put a pretty big damper on your barrage attack style day. And then of course we're running 3 Ophidiphobias just to help combo with Morrigan's natural responsibility to help push us to mid-late game. Ophidiophobia, just make sure we also stay alive to get to those parts of the game. We are running 3 Dream Thieves. Just again, this card's pretty good in those clutch moments where your opponent's trying to dig for attacks to kill you. This can kind of help prevent that. If your opponent's trying to dig for blocks, you can help try to make sure that those zones aren't right. It's just, this card comes in handy for a lot of good situations. And then of course, like I already showed you, we got Thrill of Battle in here. Again, with the top deck reviewing, this card's just really, really strong. Ring Slam kind of helps out with that. It also combos really, really well with Merciless Master. Because we are throwing a lot of attacks, it's pretty often that at least one of them is going to chip, so you can make sure you always throw it back on top of the deck and grab it with Thrill of Battle, which is a kind of nifty little combo if you can remember where you put things in your momentum. The other thing I really like about Thrill of Battle that I don't see a lot of people using it for is it makes sure that the next check you're making won't be an attack, or at least it really, really helps lessen that chance, because obviously if it's an attack you get to pick it up, and if it's not, you at least know what you're going to be checking going into your next attack. So I kind of like using Thrill of Battle almost more as that sometimes when I'm playing a long string of attacks, just using it once on each attack to make sure that my next check is going to be solid and that I'm not going to be donking checks. It just helps thin out the attacks out of that out of the top of my deck, you know, just to make sure I'm not overcommitting, going too hard into things. So I'd rather commit 1 Thrill of Battle than 2 or 3 Foundations to knock off a 5 difficulty attack. So then, of course, because we're running a high attack count, it really gets us the mileage out of Versatile Wings, because I never really liked Versatile Wings in other people's Morrigan builds, because you're only throwing like 2 attacks, maybe 3 attacks if you're lucky in a turn, and you're not really getting a lot of damage bump out of Versatile Wings. Whereas in this deck, you know, it's not too uncommon to get, you know, 4, 5, 6 attacks throwing off in string, so you're really, really getting your mileage out of Versatile Wings. And then, like I was saying, going back into our attack lineup, Versatile Wings also combos really, really well with Ein Trigger, because there's a few games where I'd have 2 Versatile Wings out, I throw an Ein Trigger just to drop that 3rd Versatile Wing in committed, and it's playable while committed, so then obviously I'm getting the +3 off the thing, so it just gives you that last chance opportunity to get the Versatile Wings. Same thing with Reformed Scientist, is playable while committed, so you can kind of get that combo off. So really, really handy card in this. It also helps play with your numbers a little bit to get some of your other little techie things off. Speaking of techie things, Robot Masters. A lot of our attack lineup is around the 3-4 mark, which is pretty nice for Robot Master plays. Again, you're getting a lot of mileage out of it because we're running a high attack count. Ring Boomerang naturally can push itself up to that 4 mark. Soul Fist is at the 4 mark. The other attacks, we do run a lot of stuff in the deck to help push these things up to that magic 4 number to get Robot Masters to go off. Namely, we are running basic training to help us get there, and we are also running the 1 copy of Pure Violence Fighting Style. These cards just get extra value because we're running the 2 Robot Masters, and because we're running so many attacks at 3. Basic training then ends up turning into like a commit +2 damage stun 1 with Robot Masters out. Same thing with Pure Violence, it just turns into a discard for +2 damage, +2 speed, and stun 1. So it just puts a lot more value into these, having the Robot Masters out. Basic training also comes into effect considering that we are running the powerful assassin kind of evil wall going on here. If you're not familiar with the powerful assassin evil wall, basically you just run your 4 powerful assassin, then you run a strong block foundation system in your staging area that you can always pick up with powerful assassin, and then get the speed reduced and then kind of clog your opponent's plans. It puts extra value into basic training, it being a +1 block, so powerful assassin basically lets you block anything for, you know, 1 less than its current speed, which is fantastic. It in combo with Power Struggles basically shuts down any kind of throw deck trying to grind you down. Grabbing Final Betrayal helps you just clog down other barrage style decks. So it's just really, really handy. I just love the Powerful Assassin wall. I recommend giving it a shot in a bunch of other decks that can run it. You can run it off of any of the 3 symbols a Powerful Assassin runs off of. It has a little bit of a different face in each of its symbols, but it's super, super strong. Not to mention the lose 2 vitality to draw a card when your opponent has no momentum. That's pretty amazing on Powerful Assassin too. So definitely running all that. Power Struggles, again, really, really handy card. The form Destroy, just to kind of deck thin a little bit too, is amazing, just to try and dig for that extra attack. Again, I love having high attack counts with cards that dig, because it just increases that odds of grabbing the attack when you need it. So digging cards are a little bit better. Just to get into the last 4 cards of the deck, they're just your 1-up techie ones. 1 Beauty of can overcome, obviously, again, high attack count. So this card really, really puts in mileage. You get a lot of card draw off this thing when it goes off. 1 Errands for Grandma. I am a 6-hand sizer, so I don't see tons and tons of value out of this thing, but Lethal Navasas can get shut down by this thing. You know, a bunch of other big, stupid, powerful attacks can get just kind of rounded off by this thing, so it's really handy to have it 1-of just for that kind of emergency situation. We are running the 1 Merciless Master, like I showed you earlier. Combos really well with Thrill of Battle. Really worst case scenario, you can chuck it on top if you really need that 5 check in clutch moments and you're worried about donking, but otherwise, just a good 1-of. And then just the 1-of Egotistical, you know, getting that free card draw when you do get tapped, just in case for those, you know, weird situations. Just really, really, really good card to have around at 1-of. So that's the Morrigan deck. Like I said, I fell in love with this thing the more I played around with it. Just, I was surprised at how ridiculously high damage you can get your attacks going at, especially, like, I don't know why people aren't running Malice in Mind a whole lot more. Just the pure numbers I could get this thing to for a 3 diff was just insane. I absolutely loved it. Because yeah, you can get it to a 6 low for 7 with Morrigan, not including your versatile wings or any other pumps that you do have in the deck. Like, it was just the amount of damage and attrition that I could put on with just 3 and 4 difficulty attacks was just absolutely nuts in this deck. So I strongly recommend building this deck. Like, I loved it so much that I'm probably going to revise this thing, throw in other cards, and see what kind of legitimate deck I can build off this, because I've been looking for a really, really fun evil build to play now that the champ cards have been rotated. So yeah, I recommend giving it a try. I absolutely loved it, and you'll probably love it too. Until next time, this is Toy signing out.